and welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show all about dreams and their meanings. I'm Michael Sheridan, and it is my mission to set the record straight about dreams. My show is live on Mondays at noon Pacific time on YouTube. Audio only is also available on Apple Podcasts and Google Play. I've been off the air while I moved my studio and set myself up on a new system. This is the inaugural show on that system. I can now record interviews, as you will see in today's show. If you're interested in having your dream analysed on the show in this format, let me know. Send your dreams to radioshow@dream-analysis.com or go to dream-analysis.com for more details. Today we have Trinity in the hot seat. Her dream features a haircut, so I'm making hair our symbol for today. Hair represents thoughts and dreams. That's straightforward enough, it comes from your head. But let's take a look at some variations on that theme. Visiting a hairdresser or stylist is pretty common in dreams. That symbol asks you to change the way you think with regard to the subject matter of the dream. Washing your hair has a similar meaning. It tells you that you need to cleanse yourself of issues that influence your thoughts. Again, this is in relation to the subject matter of the dream. In this case, there is a little more work required from you, maybe even therapy. The intention in these dreams is that your new hairstyle is expressive of the real you. This is how you need to change your thinking, but we don't always see that freedom in our dreams. You are more likely to see people with existing hairstyles or colours. Hair shown tied in a bun means your thoughts are restricted or tied up because of your upbringing. The tighter the bun, the more restricted your thinking is. An old-fashioned hairstyle is probably more obvious. When it comes to the subject matter of this dream, your thinking is old-fashioned. On the other hand, if your dream features a bald man, it means you're not thinking at all. A shaved head puts the emphasis on you refusing to think. Hair colour is significant in dreams. Guides often reveal themselves with blonde hair. This colour signifies purity of thought. You can always trust what they say. But a person with dyed hair is a warning to not trust the intention of someone trying to influence you in reality. Their seemingly pure intentions are in fact fake. A wig carries the same meaning. Don't be fooled. They are only pretending to have a fair and balanced viewpoint. Now here's the interview I recorded earlier with Trinity. Hi Trinity, how are you?
I'm great.
So thanks for agreeing to have me do one of your dreams. So I'm sure we can make sense of it. Have you ever had anybody interpret a dream before?
No, I have not. So.
Okay. Well, it is a disturbing dream. I can understand how it would bother you to have this dream. But we'll just dive into it and we'll see what it's revealing, and it'll resonate with you. I mean, that's the way it works. So okay. You'll know. It won't feel like, okay, I'm saying yes for the sake of saying yes. Don't do that. If I say a part means something and you don't think it does, then we discuss it and we come to what it actually means. So just going from the start, you say, I had a very disturbing dream and it made me extremely angry and then quite sad. In the dream, my mother, so here's where we start off. In the dream, my mother was visiting and she decided to cut my nearly 18 months old son's hair, which has never been cut. And is that a reality?
Yes.
Okay. And she decided to cut it without my permission or presence. This was upsetting because just the day before, she, my husband and I had discussed how I wasn't ready to cut Dax's hair yet. So did that happen in reality or only in the dream, the discussion?
Only in the dream. Okay,
so that's good. So the way it works is when we have a kid, when they reach an age where we were affected in life, that can trigger us to bring up memories of that age of our life. So that's what's happening here. So it's bringing you back to 18 months. It's not about Dax. The first rule of interpretation is that everything in the dream is you. So it's about you at 18 months old, and it's about your relationship with your mom. And you say his hair had never been cut, so that's significant. Even though it's true in reality, that's significant because it gets cut in the dream. And getting your hair cut or changed, hair has to do with, it symbolically represents how we think. So it's about changing how you think. And really, if you look at it here, you say, I was loving his curls, and even though it looked unruly at times, I wasn't ready to have him look like a little boy versus a baby. So it's kind of like a loss of innocence, if that's the way you would describe how you felt about Dax in the dream. You know, that he has a baby with these curls, and then suddenly they're gone, and now he's faster than I ever wanted. He is a little boy than rather than a little baby. So the dream is saying that your journey got sped up by your mom and how she treated you when you were that age. Now,
Okay.
dreams only focus on negatives, so that's important to realize. They only focus on, like, your mom could have been great in 100 ways, and it'll focus on one way that she was negative.
Okay.
That's the same for everybody. Anyway, you say in this discussion we also talked about how important it was for me to be there and what type of haircuts I may like to see on Dax when the time came. So again, it's about being forced to grow too soon. I returned home from an errand of some kind to find Dax with a new haircut. So presumably this is you describing it better. My husband and my mother said nothing at all. They just waited for my response to seeing his haircut, which wasn't even cute, and they did not save any of his cut hair. My husband Sam acted like it was no big deal and said I was making a big deal out of nothing. I felt betrayed, like he didn't care or understand me. I was extremely hurt. So these are key points. The feeling betrayed, feeling like he didn't care or understand you, and feeling extremely hurt. This goes back to your mom, and it says that your mom was able to bring up these feelings in you, and particularly able to bring them up in childhood. Can you relate to that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So because we see these traits in Sam, it means that your husband has these same traits that match your mom's traits. Is that also true?
Yes and no. I think at times yes, and at other times no. So I don't know if it sounds like a wishy-washy answer, but
no, that's fine. That's fine. So he's not always that way, whereas your mom probably was always that way, and so he has traits your mom. He shares traits in common with your mom, is the way to put it, but he doesn't always have them. But the reality is, when we pick a partner that's able to push the buttons that our parents installed. And we pick a partner with the same traits, generally with the same traits as the parent we have most issues with. So it's not surprising that you end up with a partner that shares some of your mom's negative traits. So the dream is only focusing on these. So this is not about Sam's positive traits, it's just about the negatives, but it's going back to your mom really. So let's see, so the extremely hurt, not caring, not being understood, this is what it's really underscoring, and it's trying to say, when you get this feeling in reality today, you think it's about the event that happened, in the moment, but the dream is saying, no, look, this goes back to when you were 18 months old, to that's when you felt this most. And we even have a clue in the word itself, how we react to our partner, or how you react to your partner. React means act the way you did before. So the first time that we ever experienced this, of course, is childhood. The first time we experienced most emotions is in childhood. So it's always a reenactment of how we were affected in childhood. And the intention of the dream, of course, is to heal this. And your dream has a kind of an unusual way of trying to heal it. So let's go on anyway. My husband and I were alone discussing this situation while my mother was downstairs. Sam seemed to switch gears and kind of acted like my mom pushed him into cutting Dax's hair, which did not seem like he was being honest, given that he has a headstrong personality and rarely is persuaded to do anything he does not want to do. It seemed more like a cop-out, a way to get out of taking responsibility for not standing up for something that was important to me. So can you explain that in the dream and how that fits in with reality?
Well, I think there is a past with my husband and I where that has come up, where I felt like he hasn't fully supported me or been fully committed.
Yeah.
And we've had many issues that we've gone through and worked through with marriage therapy and personal therapists.
Great.
But so for me, I see it mostly in the past, but you're saying this, all these things that like resonates, that they're old wounds from feeling that from both my parents, actually, from both sides. And so when I, whether it's my perception or it's reality, either one, I feel that, and I feel it more intensely. And I'm sure that's because of those past things. But so I don't know if I explained that well enough.
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
And your perception is reality. So, I mean, reality can't be anything other than how you perceive it. So it's all about, particularly as a child, it's all about what you needed as a child, not what your parents thought you needed or what a therapist would say, you know, that, well, your mom loved you this way, your dad supported you that way, or whatever it happens to be. Whatever you needed as a child, whatever you lacked or felt you didn't get that you felt you needed, that's what's important. That's the wound that needs to be healed. Now, in this dream, we know, from this dream, we know there are things you didn't get. This is not a perception problem. It's definitely, there are definitely things you didn't get. So it's also important to realize that these things only come up in a dream when you're at a point in life where you are actually able to do something about it. So you can heal this. So you wouldn't be getting this dream if you weren't in a strong space where you couldn't deal with this. It just doesn't happen that way. So it's always good to see them. It's never good to know you have it, but it's good to see them and say, okay, my higher self has determined that I'm strong enough to work through this right now. There's something I can do to eliminate this completely. And this is what you try to do in the dream. So so the cop-out. So you say that's all past stuff, but what has gone on recently? Has anything gone on recently that has brought it up for you and made you feel, is this over? Or am I still, well, I know from the dream, you still have these feelings. There is still this lingering pain. Is there something that you want to do or change in your life now that makes you feel that this could raise its head again? Or is it just a pervasive thing that's always there in the back of your mind because of the pain?
It's a pervasive thing that's always in the back of my mind, and done work on it. And I think at the stage in my life right now, I'm working on being more spiritual and opening my mind to looking at different things that I've never looked at entirely in my life. And so I think, and maybe that's why.
Yeah, that would be why. That would definitely be why. So you say, I want to grow spiritually. I want to, whatever your goal is, even if it's just say, and this is a great goal, even if you're just saying, well, I want to improve myself, or if you have a specific goal where you say, I want to learn to channel, or I want to learn to whatever it is, connect with my higher self, whatever happens to be, then when you have that intention and then you get this dream, the message is very clear. The message says, from your higher self, because that's where dreams come from, the message is, you need to clear this issue with your mom. That's what you need to do. And when you've done that, then you will automatically grow into the space that you're looking to grow into. But this is the way to do it. So that's really good. So let's have a look at a little bit more of your dream. Just the last piece, you say, and this is the part that was probably distressing to you. You say, I confronted my mother downstairs without my husband present. She was staying in a guest room downstairs in our home, though the house in the dream was not our actual home or a home I've ever seen or before. I don't recall much of the conversation with my mother, but it became violent with me punching her and shoving her down. And now that is the part that I say might feel distressing. But in a dream, it's actually a healing device. It seems kind of strange. Like you can kill people in a dream, you can shoot somebody, you can push somebody down the stairs, and it's only a dream. It's not your reality on the earth plane. And the intention is that you release the aggression or the anger, not aggression, but the anger that's suppressed or has been suppressed from childhood, from 18 months, by doing this action in the dream. And of course, you probably woke up going, oh my God, what on earth was that about? But that's the intention, to show you how real it is. And it's a common technique in dreams. So there's nothing wrong with you to have this. It's actually a very, very good release. You say she begged for more and then thrust her pelvis into the air while she was on the ground. This made me feel uncomfortable, and I yelled something to the effect that her actions were a sign of serious abuse, maybe sexual. Then I kicked her out the door, literally, and she stumbled onto the sidewalk. So again, very positive outcome in the dream, kicking her out the door.
Okay.
And I know it seems like it's not. And your mom is deceased. You said she passed in 2004. So this isn't about anything that she's doing today. We know that
Right.
clearly. So did you suffer physical abuse? I mean, you obviously suffered abuse, but did you suffer physical abuse? Did your mom punch? Did your mom hit?
Yes.
Okay. And can you remember how far back that went? What age were you?
Well, my first frightful memory was probably, well, that was a threatening, not an actual doing. The first time, I'm guessing, was sometime in elementary school, but I don't recall exactly.
Right. Okay. And did it involve fists, or how violent was it? How did it match what was happening in the dream?
I got pulled by my hair across the room.
Right.
Shoved down. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what you do in the dream to her is what she's done to you, and she's begging for more. So this would say that your mom enjoyed the fight, and so it's like she's welcoming it. Like, so if she gets you fighting with her, she's getting off on that in a way, by the symbolism of the dream. I don't see symbols in here for sexual abuse, even though you have that as a question mark. But the other symbols of abuse are there. So it just means they're not in this dream. But her begging for more and enjoying the fight, and of course you're a kid, so she's always going to win the fight. Right. That's not a fair fight. And you said in your comments, it's a throwback to childhood violence my mother and I shared. Now, you didn't share it. You had it inflicted on you by an adult.
Well, I fought back too when I was older.
Yeah. I'm delighted to hear that you said you got therapy for this and you went to marriage counselling and all that. But I always say, I don't know if you watch the show much, but I always say the only people who don't need therapy are the people who've already gotten it. Because I think everybody can benefit from it. And it doesn't matter what type of therapy, as long as it's effective, I mean, there are good and bad counsellors, but, you vet your counsellor. So what else do you say in your comments? All right, so we have the violence, but we have underpinning that, what you say earlier, not being understood, feeling hurt, feeling like, you say, feeling betrayed, and like the people who love you, who are meant to love you, don't care. So they're the things that you need to deal with. And it's very clear in the dream, it's simple in the dream to say, you have to work on the issues with your mom. And you've already worked on issues with your dad, with Sam. So what's still left there is mom. And you say mom is downstairs. In the dream, was that below ground level, or where was that? Because you say she was downstairs.
I think it was below ground level, I think, in the dream. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a dream's technique for saying this is below conscious awareness. So it's like, where does this come from? It's still below the surface, is the symbolic way to look at it. And the dream is bringing it to the surface for you, saying, look, this is where it is. This is where it comes from. So if you were to do something like cutting the ties with your mom, that would eliminate all of this. And it would change your philosophy of life immensely. But of course, the goal for you is to grow spiritually. So because that's your intention, because you're working on yourself and saying, okay, I want to develop my spiritual side. Well, here's the thing. We have issues that we have in the spirit plane. So we come from the spirit world. We create a body for ourselves. We pick our parents, and we pick a childhood that allows us transfer from the spirit world the very issues that cause us problems in the spirit world, the things that hold us back. And we look at these things on the earth plane and we say, my issues are with my mom. If I didn't have these issues with my mom, I wouldn't have had issues with my partner. I wouldn't have had all this sense of I'm going to be betrayed, I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to be whatever it is, whatever those feelings are for you. Nobody's going to understand me. The very things that cause you the pain in your life. When you just look at them from a human perspective, we mistakenly think these are all inflicted on us by the parent. But the reality is we pick that parent who has those issues in order that they help us transfer them from the spirit world into the physical plane. So when you work on these, when you cut the ties with your mom and eliminate the negative influence of your mom from your childhood, you grow, you eliminate all the issues that you had on the spirit plane. You eliminate them from the physical plane, but you eliminate them, in doing that, you eliminate them from the spirit plane. And that's part of your life purpose. So when you have the intention to grow, this is what makes you grow. Working on the issues that you have in childhood and making them not be issues anymore. And you get to keep that when you move back to the spirit world. So that's the whole intention. And it seems like my childhood was rotten. My childhood was, I was physically abused. And it is. But I can guarantee you from working with so many people, it's a common thread for an awful lot of people. Maybe not the physical abuse, but everybody's issues are in childhood. Everybody has to work on something from their childhood. And that's where the growth is. And it's only the brave people that look at it, like you've done in therapy, and say, okay, even though this is unpleasant, I'm willing to work on this and I'm willing to grow past it. Now, usually we have a goal, like I want to improve my relationship or whatever it happens to be. And that goal helps us keep the focus. But here you're saying, my goal is for me. I want to grow spiritually. And your higher self is responding and saying, deal with this, work on this, and I guarantee you are going to grow spiritually. And in fact, you grow so much spiritually, if you're to do cutting the ties, when you have a dream like this, you grow so much that you change profoundly. When you look back after you do the therapy, you'll be astounded about who you are. You'll be delighted about who you are. You won't necessarily ever condone the path you took to get to understanding yourself, but you wouldn't change anything because you will say, okay, I'm glad I am who I am, and I am who I am because of the experiences I had and the work I did on myself. Have you any questions? Does that make sense?
I don't have any questions at this time. I think absorbing that, I think a lot of that makes sense. I think some of my initial feelings are, man, I've done a lot of work and I still have to do more.
No, but here's the thing. So you did the work before for specific goals, with specific goals in mind. Each time you do the work, it gets easier. So if you're looking at this for a second or a third time, it's much quicker than the first time you looked at it. So cutting the ties takes typically 6 weeks. That's typically what it takes. If you've done work on yourself before, it'll take less. It's not like a long therapy where you've, where you might have spent 18 months or something doing something. It's not like that. It's very fast because it works using the language of the subconscious and imagination to really speed things up. But because your goal is to grow spiritually, it's saying, look, yes, we worked on this before, but now if you work on it again, you're going to get whatever the spiritual rewards you're looking for are. So it's a different focus, a totally different reason for looking at the same thing. So it suppressed part of your nature before, it suppressed you in relationships, as we see, because your partner's in the relationship. But now it's not about the relationship, it's about you, and it's about growing in a different way. So it's not saying, oh, that work you did before is of no benefit. Absolutely not. You'll be standing on the shoulders of that work. So it's, don't be worried about that at all.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Great.
Thank you very much. So
Thank you,
that's
Michael.
it. It shows the serious nature of dreams, how they pick up on things we think we have dealt with fully, and the dreams say, no, there is still some of this hanging around. You're still carrying it with you. Even if it is only subconsciously there, it still affects you in your daily life. Trinity was aware of that. She says it is a pervasive feeling that is around her all the time. Her dreams want to get her to the state where it is never there, so she is not affected by this childhood in any negative way whatsoever. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to have your dream analysed in this format, let me know when you send your dreams to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. Setting the record straight on dream interpretation, I'm Michael Sheridan. I will see you next week, and until then, I will leave you with this quote. Don't set a goal to be better than others. Set a goal to be better than you were yesterday.